Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffery Combs.
Good afternoon, Jeffery Combs. It is Tuesday, 2 for Tuesday. Getting dialed in here. A very productive day in the GMS office. On this day, on multiple events, on this day, February 27th, I was speaking in New Jersey 3 years in a row. It was interesting as I was going back through Facebook memories and looking at the audiences I was speaking to back in the day. One was in Clark, New Jersey. One was in Weehawken, New Jersey. Then I was also in Long Island at this time frame, also on this day in 2014, 15, and 16. So many fond memories of my speaking career and my journeys in a 26-year one-on-one coaching, speaking, and author. John, good to see you this afternoon. Ruby, good to see you. These are some of my books that I seldom ever even promote my own books, but here's The Procrastination Cure. I wrote that originally in 2010. Psychologically Unemployable, originally in 2007. That was my second book I wrote. And then the first book I wrote, and then I remastered. All these books have been remastered. This is More Heart Than Talent, and I wrote this book in 2002. I have published 5 full books and then co-authored multiple other books. So it's good to have you here with me this afternoon. I'm going to cover selling mastery, how to be a master asker, how to master the art of selling. If you follow along with the email, here is the syllabus that went out yesterday, and then here are the bullet points to the Facebook Live. So both John and Ruby, good to see you. You are both in Dave Johnson's team, and Dave is off skiing today. Dave let me know that there was some powder in Idaho, and they haven't had that type of powder, and Dave is going to be out in the field, and I don't mean out in the field selling. Dave is out in the field, and he sent me a picture of the beautiful snow where he is skiing near Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Blake Redmond, good to see you this afternoon. Blake, honored to be your coach. Congratulations on your results. And Michelle, also good to see you. The topic for today's Facebook Live is selling mastery. Anytime that you are a master, it means that you are in the flow of it. It means that you are in the zone. It means that you are in that space of excellence. I do also apologize if I'm having internet challenges today in my neighborhood, so it looks like it's starting and stopping. So bear with me as I make it through this Facebook Live this afternoon. So if you're a master asker, if you're a master at sales, it means you're skilled at it. And selling is a skill. It's the highest paid profession in the world, yet it's a profession that many people avoid. And they have prospecting reluctance. They have prospecting avoidance. Now, I'm sure that many of you may have heard of Todd Falcone. Todd and I shared the stage many times. Todd is also a very skilled sales trainer, and like me, he is a master asker and a master prospector. I am a closer. I'm very skilled at asking the questions in a sequence. I'm very skilled at selling. I have a sales background. I started my selling career at 19 years old in a phone room in Denver, Colorado, selling Time Life books. And so sales has been a way of life for me. I sold radio and television advertising on multiple occasions, and I started my network marketing career with one of the giants of the industry, Herbalife. Well, actually, I started with Amway first. Herbalife was my first company that I started to create profits in commissions. Herbalife was my first company that I had an $8,000 check. I was then in another startup company called Results Incorporated. And in that company, I was the master distributor and the #1 income earner. I then ended up in the People's Network. That was with Jeff Olson and Eric Worre. And let me think who the founder of that company was. I'll think of it in a second. And who the master distributor was. And I did well in every company I was ever in. I was in Tom Schreider's company, Nutrition for Life. Tom Big Al Schreider was one of my uplines for a period of time. So I learned a lot of my sales skills in network marketing and direct sales, and I really learned how to prospect, how to phone prospect, how to one call close, two call close, how to use the three-way call with a mentor upline, how to teach a team and a team culture, how to come together. And consistently throughout my network marketing career, I taught prospecting skills. Many leaders don't teach prospecting skills, and they talk about sharing and caring and talking to people and following up. Well, that's not what I taught. I taught my team how to prospect. And prospecting is a skill set. It's an art. And if you can master it, you'll be able to close sales, attract people to your business, put the numbers on the board. And then if you become skilled at the facilitation of your products, and if you have products, services, benefits, and features that are relatively easy to teach and duplicatable, then there's a probability that you will be able to have some success in network marketing, insurance, real estate. And these are the main skills that I teach selling in. I teach sales skills for realtors, insurance agents, insurance brokers, influencers, affluencers, coaches, network marketers, direct sales people. And in all these businesses, these models, any one of you watching this content can become 6- and 7-figure income earners. I was a coach for a wellness company, and I was endorsed by the company. I spoke at their events. The company became right at the cusp of $1 billion company. And in 2017, I was coaching 58 of their top 200 income earners. And in that company, I coached thousands of people on how to build a direct sales business. I coached a man this morning who's a $1.4 million income earner in the insurance industry, and I've coached him since 2010. And this selling is a skill, and it's a mastery, and it's important that you begin to master the art of selling. Kira Fairchow is on today's Facebook Live. Kira is a world-renowned artist. She's also a mom, a wife, and also is a very skilled real estate investor. Kira, would you be kind enough to post your website, because I want to share people your brilliance. So Kira is she's a Western art painter. I own one of her paintings. It's absolutely brilliant. It's a beautiful piece. It's large. I mean, it's amazing. And I'll tell you this, Kira is a closer. Kira is skilled at selling. Kira knows how to position her art. She knows where to place it. She knows who to sell it to. She's owned galleries. She is absolutely a master at selling her craft. And she is top tier, and her results show it. Her lifestyle shows it, because she is dependent on herself. She doesn't depend on anyone else. And not many people make it as artists, just like not many people make it as entrepreneurs. So if you're going to succeed in your own free enterprise business from the comfort of your home, you're going to be the LOF, the law of the few. You're going to be one of the few that breaks through. You're going to be one of the few that next levels your business. You're going to be one of the few that really takes your game to the next level. You're going to be one of the few that really upscales what it's like to be in free enterprise. And if you have that courage, if you're willing to let go of the anxiety about the outcome, if you're willing to learn how to communicate and converse with people, then you're going to take your game, your business, and yourself to the next level. Then most importantly, you can teach these selling skills to others. I'm going to cover just some basic, simple application that you can put into any business, just understanding these skills. When you are selling, your sales skills is going to be enhanced by your ability to stay present. If you're in anxiety about the outcome, if you're worried about being rejected, you're out of the conversation. If you're worried about making a mistake, if you're worried about saying the wrong thing, if you're worried about offending that person, then you can't possibly qualify that person for your time. Your objective when mastering the art of sales is to speak to qualified buyers so that your presentation, your product, service, and benefits and features, you have a law of average of that person seeing the value proposition, seeing the benefits, seeing the features, or seeing that you may be a mentor or a leader for them. And it's important that you speak to the people who value your time. Now, what many people do is they do this. They open their mouth and they TTM. They talk too much. And they talk at a client. They don't really listen to what the client says. They waste time with the wrong people. And then Most of you have been conditioned that the fortune's in the follow-up, and that won't be any of my conditioning. You don't ever hear me say the fortune's in the follow-up. The fortune's in being a skilled listener. The fortune's in being a skilled asker. The fortune's in being a skilled closer. The fortune is being able to develop a culture or database or a team that follows you that you're able to be compensated on from referrals. You're able to be compensated on through the leverage of a pay plan. You're able to be compensated on the price points of your value and your service. And it's just as easy to sell a $10 million house as it is a $100,000 house. I have a client, and she gave me permission to mention her name. Her name is Susie. She lives in Kauai, Hawaii. In the last 2 years, she has sold 2 8-figure properties and multiple 8-figure properties and several 7-figure, let me rephrase that. She has sold 3 8-figure properties and multiple 7-figure properties in an island that has very low inventory. This is Kauai. Also, go look at this new resort she told me about. It's called One in Kauai, O-N-E, and it is a fabulous resort in Kauai. So I'll have Susie on one of my lives. Susie, I've known since 2008. I met her in a real estate educational platform called Nouveau Riche back in the day. I was her coach in 2008. And now, all these years later, Susie is absolutely crushing it in her career in her 60s, selling 7- and 8-figure properties. She doesn't even sell a property that's below 7 figures. There isn't any inventory in that. And she will tell you the same thing. It's just as easy to sell a big ticket item as it is a small ticket item, provided your mindset allows you to do that. But if you have challenges presenting a $200 value proposition, how can you ever sell a $2 million product? Well, you won't be able to. That's your own dialogue with money. So I have been teaching how to sell the dream. Michael Coloni is on today's call. He's asked me multiple times, how do you sell the dream? You sell the dream by painting the picture. You sell the dream by asking the questions. I have asked numerous waiters, waitresses, hostesses, bartenders, salespeople in gyms and other situations, do you keep your options open for additional streams of income? Are you looking for a way to create an additional source of income along with what you're already doing? I asked a woman named Lisa that question in 1996, and her question to me, she didn't answer my question. She asked me a question that's called a U-turn, and I knew what that meant. And she said, is this MLM? I said, absolutely. Have you ever been in that industry? Then she proceeded to tell me about a company called Equinox that she had been challenged in. She was upside down financially. She was about to lose her car. Her house was in foreclosure. And I listened to her tell me the story, and I cut her off, and I said, Lisa, I understand that. My question was, do you keep your options open for additional streams of income? And she said, I would. Phil Johnson is on the call. Phil Johnson was part of that business. Phil remembers Lisa. Phil, remember Lisa? She was my top producer in that organization back in the day. Phil was my friend and still is my friend, but Phil was my friend from 1996, 7, and 8 back in the day. And Phil, I'm telling the Lisa story of where I met her in a health club, recruited her on the spot. She signed up with me the next day. She had no money either. She was absolutely financially challenged. That's another situation you want to understand, is that your dialogue with money oftentimes will determine your prospect's dialogue with money. So if you're projecting your broke thoughts on a prospect, there's a high probability that they will have some of the same situations. This is why your dialogue with money is improving. Your dialogue with money is improving. So I asked Lisa if she kept her options open for additional streams of income. After that first question, I took her to lunch. She came up with $1,300 to start that business. That was on a Wednesday. On Thursday, she had the money. And then in year number 2, she became a $500,000 income earner. She was the first person I ever sponsored in direct sales that made more than $100,000. I had one other person make $100,000 in my first 6 years of business, but in my last 3 years in the network marketing and direct sales industry, I had 25 people achieve 6 figures in a calendar year in that last business that I was in before I started my coaching business. So that's the evolution of learning the mastery of selling. Sales is a skill. Master it. Master the art of selling by asking the questions in a sequence. All of you that are my coaching client, every one of you that have hired me to be your coach, in your back office free is a 10 CD audio program called Psychology of Asking. I produced that's my most masterful product on selling. I produced it in 2008. It's a standalone product. Whether you buy it in 2035 or whether you bought it in 2008, that content is still applicable because it breaks down what it means to be a master asker. So your self-talk that goes off in your head. What is going off in your head? Oh my God, I hope I don't get rejected. I hope I don't get abandoned. What is my family going to think? What are my friends going to think? I mean, you have to be able to let go of that noise and focus right there in the conversation. For my wife, my wife watched me do this for her once upon a time. I asked a waiter, I said, Tom, I couldn't help but notice your waiting skills are exceptional. Have you ever considered owning your own business? He completely checked out, and he told me that he went to art school and that he had a film in a film festival. Now, I didn't ask for any of that information. I asked him if he kept his options open. And I asked him the same question again. He checked out again, and I let him go. And you want to be prepared to let your prospects go. When you are prospecting, you learn to have no attachment to the outcome. But those of you who are codependent, not independent, those of you who are people pleasers will tend to contradict this story and go, yeah, but don't you think? I heard this man on stage train and he talked to this person 39 times and now that person's a millionaire. Well, here's what that means. That's called the isolated incident syndrome. Occasionally that will happen. Seldom does that happen. Your success is going to be based on what are called the law of averages, not just the law of the few. I coached a woman named Susan, and her upline did call her 37 times, and then eventually she became the number one income earner in $1 billion company. That's the isolated incident theory, and I coached Susan for 4 years. Susan referred me well over 10,000 coaching clients. And that was the isolated incident theory. Incidentally, the woman who called Susan 37 times, I was her coach. Her name was Deborah. And she was also in a wellness company. And the reason she called Susan 37 times is because they'd been in 4 companies together. They'd been through 4 challenging endeavors in free enterprise. And so she had that relationship with her. But that little detail always got lost on stage. And then that turned so many people into the fortune in the follow-up. The fortune is not in the follow-up. The fortune is in the mastering the skills of asking the questions. The fortune is becoming skilled at selling and buying into free enterprise, mastering your emotions, telling yourself that you're skilled at sales, telling yourself that you're going to learn how to be an exceptional connector. You're an exceptional closer. You have to buy into that. Your communication, your style has to buy into this, because if it doesn't, then you have prospecting reluctance. Then you have prospecting avoidance. And that's what many people do, is they avoid in the term getting on the phone. Well, in today's world, you don't get on a phone. You don't put the phone down and sit on it. You use a cell phone typically with a headset or earbuds, and you reach out to people and you're prospecting. Now, I asked one of my top clients today for a referral. So he gave me a referral for a woman. I didn't know her. Her phone number was 832. That's a Houston number. I had my assistant sit down right beside me while I was coaching, and I'd given him a set of instructions before I started my next coaching call. And I had him text this woman, and my message said, Susan, my name is Jeffery Combs. Your name was referred to me by Don. Don suggested I reach out to you. He said you might be open to coaching. Well, Susan responded back. She said, thank you for getting back to me. At this point, I'm not seeking any coaching. I will keep your number. Have a great day. Thanks. Now, Susan did not reject me. Susan let me know she wasn't interested. So I didn't turn that. She's not going to be in my drip list. Susan isn't interested. I won't follow up with Susan. Susan isn't interested. I won't put her on my wish list. Susan isn't interested. I won't bother Susan. Susan isn't interested. I can let that go. Susan was one lead in the banquet of life. And that's all it means. It's just one lead. And I didn't know Susan, and I didn't form Susan. I didn't become Susan's friend. I didn't spend time talking to her. I mean, I have prospected, in the hundreds of thousands of phone calls in my career, hundreds of thousands. I used to own a postcard company. I did 2,000 postcards a week with a 5% return in the 90s. And on that 5% return in the 90s, people would go into my inbox, and then I had a specific message for people that went into my inbox, and it said, "Hello, my name is Jeffery Combs. I'm inspired for you. This call could change your life. If you're like me and you've wondered, there's a legitimate home-based business that can put you in command of your finances, your freedom in your life, then listen to what I have to say." Many of our associates are creating 4- and 5-figure income results from the comfort of their home, and you could too if you're serious, not curious. If you'd like to find out more, leave your name and number twice. This is a key. Leave your name and number twice. Leave your name and number twice. And I will personally return your call. Now, the person that left their name and number twice, 90% of the time, I close that sale in one call. That was just marketing skills that I learned. So I used to do 2,000 postcards a week, and my postcard said, "Your first million," with a $50, $100, a $500, and $1,000 bill stacked. I had the graphics created for me. I flipped it over. I used to buy my list from a company called Macro Mark Media in White Plains, New York. I believe they're still in business. I did business with them for years, and I bought multiple lists in different zip codes, area codes, and demographics, and I became the king of the postcards in the 90s. That was direct mail. I've been marketing. I have done flyers. I have done newspaper ads. I write at least 10 to 15 posts a day, every single day in social media. I write on Threads, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook daily, and other forms of medias. I'm on television. I'm on radio interviews. I'm in multiple places so that my visibility is high, and then it enhances the law of averages. I'm from a town this big. No one mentored me. I have a degree in radio and television and journalism, and I never used it once. I just went straight into business for myself. I waited tables. I bartended. I had a catering business. I had multiple sales businesses. I failed at business multiple times. I've been through a few network marketing ventures, and I've been through the network marketing odyssey. I eventually became a 7-figure income earner the last 3 years of my network marketing career. I started my coaching business in 1998. And since 1998, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated is the only business I've owned. I've coached 15,000 clients, 150 hours, 150,000 hours one-on-one. I did 1,042 keynotes and wrote 5 books. Here are 3 of my books for today. Here's The Procrastination Cure. That is my bestseller in 4 languages. This is my first book, More Heart Than Talent. I wrote that in 2002. I wrote this book, Psychologically Unemployable, in 2007. Those are all available on my website, goldenmastermind.com. Incidentally, please do not buy my products on Amazon. If you buy anything from me on Amazon, I didn't produce it. I don't have a contract with Amazon other than one Kindle book, The Breakthrough Factor. Now, I've been in the book industry since 2002. I own my own publishing company. I published 32 other authors' books, plus 5 of my own. That's 37 books. I forgot to mention, I did own a publishing company, but it was inside of Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. It was an LLC inside of my California corporation, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. So if you're just watching the content today is on selling mastery. Master your emotional state, number 1. I'm just going to go over the key points here. Master your emotional state, number 1. If you're going to be a sales professional, it's important that you buy into the profession of selling. I hear people confuse themselves. My job. You don't have a job, you have a business. How can you be an entrepreneur and have a job? Many people confuse the two. You own a business in free enterprise from the comfort of your home. And if you don't buy into that, then you'll avoid your business. You'll get ready, and then you'll sabotage yourself to fulfill the neurochemical craving that you're emotionally addicted to, the payoff. For those of you who are watching me for the first time today, I highly recommend you reach out to me for a free 20-minute coaching session. That one call could change your life. I've had many people reach out to me that one call, and just that one 20-minute call, they ended up hiring me because the content that I offered them, they grasp it like, whoa. Joe Frith, good to see you this afternoon. Valerie, good to see you. Good to see all of you here this afternoon. Your self-talk is very important to your communication. So if you're critical of yourself, if you're anxious about the outcome that hasn't happened, let go. John Parker, good to see you this afternoon. Some good old familiar faces on here. Joe, good to see you. I was Joe's coach back in the day, 2015, and Joe saw me speak in, Joe, you saw me speak in Connecticut, you saw me speak in Schenectady, or you saw me speak in Albany multiple times, and saw me speak other places. Good to see you this afternoon. So number 3, you want to learn to qualify prospects for your time. You ask qualifying questions. How serious are you about hiring a coach? How serious are you about starting a business? You ask how serious are you about purchasing a home? If you're going to sell real estate, you're definitely going to find out the buyer's credit score. You're definitely going to find out, does the buyer qualify for the price point of the home? These are qualifying questions. And for sale by owner, FSBO. If you're going to go out and talk to the FSBOs, you're going to ask qualifying questions. Most people at FSBO, for sale by owner, know little to nothing about selling that home, and that's why they require a skilled real estate professional to guide them through that process. Is that correct, Joe? Joe Frith, you know that that's correct. Qualifying people for your time, that's what you're doing. You ask qualifying questions. Sales mastery is asking a series of relaxed questions about the outcome you seek to create. So you're coming from small talk, fact-finding, and rapport building. Your questions are built around that to see if the prospect qualifies for your product, service, benefit, and feature. And then if you're selling the dream, it's important that you find out, does the prospect have dreams? Does the prospect have a vision? If money weren't an issue, what would you do with your time? That's one of my favorite questions I've asked for 30 years. I've asked people that. And when someone goes, and they check out, that's usually not someone who's going to qualify for my time. That means they typically don't have a vision, they don't have clarity, and they're just tiptoeing quietly through life, and more than likely, they will arrive at their grave safely, living the greatest pain, the pain of regret. And then number 5 today, the interview process. The sale is closed before you ever get to the closing table by how you ask the questions. And the way you ask the questions and the way the prospect answers determines the flow of the conversation. I did a 20-minute call with a real estate agent Sunday night. I could tell immediately she wasn't that interested. And every question I asked her, her sound was and she had to think and process and analyze. And at the end of the conversation, I asked her if she was considering hiring me to be her coach. And she said, and I let her go diplomatically, thanked her, and I will never hear from her again. I will not follow up with that person because she isn't interested. And someone isn't interested, they're not a qualified buyer. There's no point in wasting my time, which is valuable, or anyone else's, so that I can be disappointed. That's letting go of the payoff. Let go of prospects easily and effortlessly because not everyone qualifies for your product, benefit,